Hey guys, so I'm about to make and edit the worst travel vlog you ever seen. And you're gonna stick around and you're gonna tell me what you think about it in the comments. Now, I had no idea of how to make a travel vlog, or I never did one. So I went to visit some family in Nebraska, and I figured start your travel vlog career with the great state of Nebraska. What could go wrong? So come along with me. It's bad footage, it's bad storytelling, it's pretty much hot garbage. But stick around, let me know what you think. So my trip starts off at LaGuardia Airport leaving from New York City. Now, this point of view of Nebraska is from a jaded New Yorker who doesn't travel much. And I haven't been to this airport since the big renovation, and it was pretty nice. It's got this big window here. It was not too crowded. The plane wasn't too crowded because, like, not many people going to Nebraska. But no complaints here. Airport food super expensive, so don't go hungry. Now, I had a few ideas of places I wanted to go, and this is my first stop. Now, I'm looking at this gar, and you got this other fish coming here. I don't know if that's a bass or something. He's like cruising by. He's like, all right, buddy, what do you want from me? I was in a little fish tank area in Cabela's, which is awesome. We're going to see a lot of Cabela's here coming up. And I thought I took more video of fish, but I forgot to press the record button. This is why this is the worst vlog ever. And that's a catfish hiding under there, I believe, and doing what he does, bothering nobody, minding his business. And we're gonna move on to the boat section. I mean, this Cabela's was like huge. I mean, I always seen the catalog, and being in New York, places like this, at least several years ago, just didn't exist around me, or I just never drove far enough to visit one. So this is just sensory overload for someone like me who's into boats, who's into guns, who's had bow and arrow as a kid in the Bronx. But I'm not really a hunter or anything. Fisherman, yes, and I'm the type to throw 95% of my fish back in the water. But this place was huge. It was almost like a cathedral of outdoor sports. The displays were amazing. Look, right now I'm just checking off my bucket list of going to Africa, because this is probably better than the trip would probably be, and a little bit cheaper than what I can afford. So this guy's having a bad day, and the amount of stuffed animals in this place was crazy. Couldn't even get them all on video. Compound bows, everything's hunting. I mean, these people like to shoot things, hunt, and if they're not hunting animals and shooting animals, they're practicing hunting and shooting. I can get with it. I don't think I will hunt or shoot an animal. I just didn't come from that background. I always say to myself that I was born in the wrong place. I should have been born in the South. I should have been a redneck, because that's what I like. I like everything that's not New York. I mean, I'm always looking at other places thinking, oh, I wish I could do that. I can't do that because I'm not over there. What they do over there is different from what I do over here. It's just, I was always born to be a redneck, I believe. Now this is me. We went to actually a museum, and we got some culture in Omaha. So this is downtown Omaha. I forget the name of the museum. We just finished a big renovation. They added to an old part, and it was pretty cool. I've been to New York museums, and they're the best, some of the best in the world. This was not bad. I like this Art Deco building, which was pretty awesome. And we went during the week, so it was not crowded, which is what I like. And I believe it was free, which is a good price. Lots of art. Over here you got a nice little picture of a waterfall, American Indian. They had a lot of American Indian and Nebraska history. And of course I gotta find weapons. Now this is a rifle case from American Indian, and just amazing the details on this stuff, you know, the colors, the beads, the concept of getting a rifle case for your rifle and then decorating it. Of course, they had some modern stuff there, which was okay. You know, I felt like I was in New York here. Another part of the Art Deco building, and it's pretty awesome. You know, I kind of like that. And this kind of reminds me of like an Egyptian building or something. Really interesting. And I think this is the new version of the museum. Very nice building, intrigued. In the middle of downtown Omaha. And no trip to the free USA goes without shooting guns. Now, I checked out some places before I went down there. New York is pretty much anti-gun and very difficult to shoot guns. Over here, you could rent all types of guns and shoot them in the range, pretty much unsupervised. Yes, they got rules and you got to follow rules and you got to be safe, but it's a huge contrast from New York. So that was nice. Good to shoot some guns and live in free America. And we went down to Strategic Air Command for a few hours, and this place was pretty nice. Almost like the Airspace Museum in Virginia, Washington, D.C. This one was a little pricey, but it's a nice day trip. You know, they got some missiles here, they got airplanes. I got some pictures. I don't know if I was supposed to film inside or take pictures, but they got a lot of interesting displays, a lot of airplanes. They restore airplanes on site, so that was pretty cool. Another bucket list, found out they had a racetrack near the family that I was staying with, BMX. I always loved BMX here in New York. Only seen it in magazines, never been to a track. Always had to make our own little jumps and parks. So this was a bucket list. I never seen actual BMX racing in person, and they actually have a introductory thing where you could try it out yourself, and they think they'll even rent you a bicycle. I was intrigued. I almost did it, but ran out of time, and I figured I probably gonna need my collarbone intact for my tennis lessons, so I chickened out. So I brought some cousins there, some of their kids, and we hung out. Didn't pay anything and had a great time. So went to a thrift shop, super huge. Oh my god, like a warehouse. You could buy all this random stuff. I mean, if you're into just browsing, you could spend a few hours in there. Really wanted to buy that Ford pickup tailgate. Wouldn't fit on the airplane. Again, right before we left, we stopped off at Bass Pro Shops, and the ammo on the shelves, yeah, that's real America right there. Stopped off at RV park, checked out some travel vans. Super expensive, but super cool. Maybe that's gonna be me one day, who knows. That's only if I become homeless, because New York is so darn expensive. So basically the trip ends there. We're flying in on our way home, and I'll give you my thoughts, for whatever it counts for, on Nebraska. First thing I thought, it was going to be all flat, full of corn. Land in Omaha, I see hills and pretty much big hills all around, very hilly. I was like, I thought this was going to be flat. Well, apparently Omaha is not so flat. Outside of Omaha, yes. So it took me like a day to even find some corn, and found some corn. Yep, it's there. And really didn't venture out too far because I didn't have no reason to, and not enough time. So the family that hosted us were wonderful, great accommodations. Everybody has a beautiful house because housing is cheaper. Plenty of jobs out there, a lot of industry, insurance, banking industry, a lot of tech jobs, and I could see the allure. We went through rush hour to go to one of the places downtown. I think it was the Old Market, and it was laughable. It was no rush hour. Rush hour is like no rush hour compared to New York. I mean, New York will take you like 2 hours to go 3 miles. So that is like a huge change. Food is relatively cheap and better quality. Like, you go to any diner restaurant and there's a whole host of different types of restaurants. You could get a Wagyu burger for a little bit extra price from a standard burger, quality meat, and relatively cheaper than New York, obviously. So you can eat good over there. A lot of variety, a lot of bars, spots to go hang out. I gave it a bad rap of being boring, but if you like outdoors, if you like all sorts of activities that you could do, I mean, you don't have to make it boring. There's people that make a life there, and it's not boring. New York, overrated, overpriced, kind of crappy. I know there's bad parts of Omaha, Nebraska, but New York is I dislike New York even more now. It's lost its shine for me. I lived here all my life. I like to shoot guns. I like to get a motorcycle one day, a dirt bike, and be legal. I don't want to ride around the streets of the Bronx illegally. Out there you could get a nice house, probably a nice piece of land, live more cheaply, and enjoy life a little more. I got a different perspective on Nebraska, and with a few of my family and cousins there established, I feel like I'll go back there again, definitely. If I could get out of the hustle and bustle and grind of New York, just trying to get by. It seems like over there, less property tax, less everything. I mean, your dollar go further. So, will I be back? Yeah. So, thanks for watching the worst travel vlog ever. I hope you liked it, and see you next time.
Welcome to New York's LaGuardia Airport.